John Thomas. John Thomas. Gosh, this is going to be the death of me. Welcome to the champagne side, John Thomas.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Today we have my friend John Thomas, our friend John Thomas. He is a real estate investor, but you used to be in ministry and not even in Fort Wayne. So yeah, why don't you have some really exciting properties that you've been working on.
We do.
Some things we're all really pumped about.
I'm so excited.
I know. It's going to be really
Especially
great.
after seeing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right before this, Hunter was like, I just can't wait until John Thomas has everything just like up and running and has all his people come in and do their thing.
You have no idea.
And I'm just like, no, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
And how you even came to Fort Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
and then what projects you have going on.
All right. So I was born in California, and through life ended up bringing me out to the Midwest. And I do go by John Thomas. I guess my parents couldn't figure out a name, so they just said, "Here, you can figure out these two."
Yeah, I need to like
Not
get
Not
that in my
JT,
head.
I know.
not
Well,
John.
I had
Not
crazy
Thomas.
uncles that always called me
JT.
JT. I mean,
Not
uncles. That was
JT
like
or-
the uncle thing. You
Crazy
know what I mean?
uncles.
Like
He said crazy
You know
uncles.
what I
I'm
mean?
like, I
So
kind of like
JT.
JT.
So it's always just been John Thomas. Yeah. In fact, I like to joke that people call me John. I'm like, well, my friends call me John Thomas. And so
Right. Okay.
It's like
I
the
get it.
opposite
Exactly.
of a nickname.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like the friends know that's the full
Right.
name.
Mm-hmm.
So ended up in the Midwest, and then was in Bluffton in Wells County for 12 years. And
Oh, wow.
I was actually a youth pastor there.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how I got started with, I guess, call it a career. I don't know. They call it a career ministry. It's just ministry.
Sure.
And then in 2020, we moved up to Fort Wayne right as COVID hit, the pandemic hit. And that chapter at the church had closed, and we kind of moved on to something else. And I was kind of like, I don't know, what do I want to do? And I'd kind of dabbled in real estate investing, took a course, because apparently if you take a course, you just know
it makes you
everything.
an expert.
Right.
Yeah, and so I was just kind of practicing, if you want to call it that. And so when we came up here after COVID, I'm searching what I want to do. We drove by this building on Main Street because we actually live just right behind like Junk Ditch area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so we walked by this building and we're driving by this building. The kids were riding bikes and it was this empty building. And I'm like, this looks so cool. What could we do with it? I'm like, what if, and it was always like
all the what ifs.
I know. And you know how it normally starts with like, oh, that'd be cool if somebody put this
Right.
in
Right.
here, or
Yeah.
if somebody did
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Right.
And so finally it was like, well, why don't we do it? I mean, why not? Let's give it a
Right.
shot.
What do we have to lose?
Yeah, exactly. And
Only everything.
Yeah, right.
Literally.
No kidding. And
Everything gone.
and it was one of those things where it's like, okay, do we know 100% what we're doing? No, not really, but we'll just figure it out. And if we can find the right people to help us, we can make it work. And so
Nice.
that's what we started.
Wow.
And then from there, kind of started getting more properties on Main Street. And so
Yeah.
now we're just all in.
But I
I'm
love the
100%
story
in.
of how you even got that building.
Yes. Okay, that is quite the story.
Wait,
so,
can I pause?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where in California are you from?
Northern California.
Okay.
Reading?
Oh, no.
Oh my
no,
God,
I
you're
don't know
actually
what that
from
is.
Reading.
You know Reading?
I know Reading.
People never know Reading because they're
Yeah,
like,
but I grew
Yeah,
up
I'm
in
like,
the
I don't
evangelical
know.
church.
I know the
That's
basics.
fair. Oh, that's true.
I know like
That's a
LA,
good point.
San Diego, San Francisco.
You've always just told me Northern California. I
Yeah.
did not know you were from
Yeah, I was
Reading.
from Reading, yeah. My sister
Oh.
went to the actual school that you're probably
So
referring
did my
to.
brother.
No kidding.
Okay,
That's
this is
funny.
weird.
That is weird.
I like
It's
don't
super
know.
We
What's
could-
it by?
We have even more stories to swap now.
We do.
Mhm.
It's like a supernatural ministry type of school up there.
Okay.
That's like, it's really big.
What
all over.
like is it like above San Francisco? Is that by
Yes.
San Diego?
Yeah, I know,
Is
because
it
every time you
like
say Northern California, people are like, oh, San Francisco. I'm like, no, we're 4 hours still north of
North.
San Francisco.
Oh wow, so you're like
California
way up
is
there.
so much bigger than I
Oh
think
my
people
gosh, I know.
realize.
Yeah, and
that
that's
it
still, we're
is.
still 2 hours from Oregon.
Yeah.
We had to go
Okay.
over the mountains, but we're surrounded by mountains. And
Okay,
we're
cool.
in the, we're in the valley,
It's
so
probably beautiful up there.
very beautiful, but not near the ocean. People are like, oh, so you surfed? I'm like, no, I was 3
You're like,
hours
no,
from-
I
I went
snowboarded.
hiking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hiking and snowboarding. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm so far from the
That's
ocean.
so funny. Okay, I was just curious. But anyway, so you basically invested money now into like literally the whole a whole block of Main Street almost.
Yes.
4 corners.
Yeah, so-
almost.
Yeah. So, once this project started, and actually to go back, it was a sort of an odd way to acquire the building, because after we decided, okay, let's give it a shot, I called up the realtor who had listed it, and he's like, oh, the seller just took it off the market. He's not interested in selling anymore. I'm like, well, we have to come in with like his asking price.
Right.
Let's talk through this. And he's like, nope, he's not interested. I'm like, well, can I talk to the seller myself? Nope, he's not interested. I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. So I found the seller, looked him up, and just invited
You're
him
like
for
on
breakfast.
Facebook.
I feel like
yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
such a
fucking
Fort
find
Wayne
you.
thing, though. Like, it's a small town in that way.
It was, yeah, and he was
Yeah.
easy to find him. And then just said, hey, I'm interested I know you just took it off the market, but I'm interested in purchasing. Can we go to breakfast and just talk through it? So we took him to breakfast. And just
Where'd you go?
what is it? Is it Spiros?
Oh, Spiros.
Oh,
okay.
Southwest
Nice.
by Jefferson
Yeah.
Point, kind of.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, and he was like, he's like a regular there, so he's got his own table. Everybody knows.
Oh, right.
I'm like, what are you doing with these two young guys? You know what I mean? And we're
John
sitting there.
Thomas is walking in like,
You're like,
hey,
hey.
don't want to like bombard, but I have an idea.
Yeah. So kind of actually pitched, like, was just honest and said, hey, want to do this. And believe it or not, he had been, he's been around for years on Main Street for like 30 years. And he's like, I've been waiting for something like this to happen.
Not just to sell the building, but
yeah.
to sell it with the vision that you
Potential
had.
that-
And come to find out, somebody had already offered him more money than I was going to offer him. And he had turned it down because those individuals wanted to just tear the building down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You like can't do that. That's
No.
like
Yeah.
still a historical district
Mhm.
to me, at
And
least.
so-
I don't know what they consider it, but
Yeah. And so, that is considered a historic part of West Main. It's got that old, Hutzel
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and stuff. And so he was like, he turned down his offer because he's like, I want the building to be saved. I want somebody to come in
Yeah.
and save the building, not just tear it
Right.
down and build
Yeah.
a gas station. Or whatever.
Good.
yeah.
So through that conversation, he actually discounted the price. So we got to actually lower than
Nice.
he had initially wanted. And and that actually started a pretty cool relationship with him. And because that's who I bought a lot of the other properties from.
I was going to say, so he didn't
Fantastic.
just own that. He
Okay.
owned
Right.
a bunch more around there.
Right, exactly.
And then, in that little block there. So then he was like, or I guess, did you go to him and you were like, what about this, this, and that? Or was he like, well, if you like this, do you like these ones?
It was kind of a mutual,
Okay.
right? And I was like, well, I'd like that, but I can't buy it right now. And he's like, well, we'll just, I'll hold it for you,
Nice.
Right.
I'll sell it to you later.
So,
really cool.
So really built a relationship.
yeah,
yeah,
That's
that's so
amazing.
nice.
Yeah,
It
Love
sits
that.
on Main Street, and what's the T road again?
Mechanic.
Okay,
Main
Mechanic
Street. In
and
fact,
Main.
so where the Redwood Inn is,
Yep.
it's the same block as the Redwood Inn. It's on that same part. In fact, he owned the Redwood Inn at one point.
Okay.
And so we ended up buying that from him as well.
And then just sold it back.
And just sold it to
and
the
now
yeah,
the people that were
renters.
renting it, now
Yeah,
they own it.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. So they
Awesome.
were the Redwood. They were renting the building, but they owned the business.
Right.
And so now we just let them buy their own
The
business.
whole- yeah.
So
Love that.
Awesome.
And they've got such a good, faithful
Mhm.
following.
They
How-
do
do
have
you
a
know
they've
how
strong
got some
many-
exciting
community.
stuff planned too.
Oh,
So,
good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good,
fun.
good.
Big there. Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
good. So what's going into this building? I mean, we know, but
You do.
Tell
okay,
us.
So, it started out as, when we're running numbers and you're trying to figure out, okay, what tenants do you want to put in here? Who should you get in? Who would be a good fit for the neighborhood? Like that was a big concern. Like,
Yeah.
we want this to be like a community spot, like a destination place, people
Especially
come.
because you're adding so much right there, and now you're buying so much right there. It's like it is a community.
Right.
And I'm sure you'll go into depth on why it's a community. I
Mhm.
want you to definitely talk about that for everybody to hear. But it's like that's important.
Yeah, definitely. And so, so we're kind of running numbers on who should put in here. And so we'd actually talked to the owners of Canella first
Mm-hmm.
and thought this would be cool to have like a local coffee shop. There's no good coffee on West
Love Flora.
Main. I know, they were so great. But they were at the time opening up the new location in, what is it, New Haven?
New Haven,
yeah.
which is up and running now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was like, we can't do it right now, but let us introduce you to Johnny, who's, that's their kid. So met him, and he's doing phenomenal stuff on Mercado, and then he bought Happy's.
The Landing,
Yeah.
Gusta Hospitality. Yeah,
Mhm.
they have a
So
lot
great.
going on.
I love what they do. So we connected, and he's like, well, instead of just like a coffee shop, what if I put a restaurant in here? And so that kind of just was a back and forth, lots of reiterations on plans until we got to the point where he's like, okay, I'm going to put this restaurant in. They call it Spoken Ivy. He and his wife are so great at what they do.
Yeah.
And so that was really exciting. And that's actually what allowed us to get the financing we needed because they came in as our anchor tenant.
Okay.
And
Right.
so we will take the main space. And then the project starts, and through that, we knew we had another space in the back that we needed to fill. So we're actually working with an individual who's going to bring salon suites
Oh, nice.
back there. So it'll be
Okay.
another
Yeah.
cool addition to the building.
That was a nice spot back there too. When
was,
you
yeah.
showed us, it's like perfect
Yeah. it'll be
because
really
you
great.
have. I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself, but it's perfect because
No,
what's
it is.
upstairs.
Yes, exactly. So those are the businesses going in on the first floor. And part of this back and forth with Johnny was, during construction, we ended up having to tear up the entire subfloor of one half of the building and dig out the basement and put concrete down there. As part of this, what
Right.
you have to do for construction. And so when Johnny saw that, he's like, well, what are you doing to this space? And we're like, oh, I don't know.
Like the basement space.
The basement
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know yet. And he goes, well, what if I take that too, and put a speakeasy? And we're like, heck yeah, that's dope.
I love it.
I
so
know.
So
much.
cool.
It is so
down
great,
there.
It's
isn't it?
so cool. And now they've put out some sneaks. So you guys, that
There are some sneaks
wallpaper
now.
is like
Yes.
literally velvet.
The velvet red
It's
wallpaper.
amazing.
It's such
chandeliers.
an
Love
elegant
it.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's close. It is considered tight, but if you go to Chicago, they make
It's
that.
all
They're
like
supposed to be
that.
cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
No,
exclusive.
I
It
don't
is.
think.
I love it.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with the size. That's like what you picture when you go to
Yeah.
a basement, like speakeasy, like New York,
Yeah.
Chicago, like you said. That's all they have.
Right.
Like it's, and I would compare it to one of those. Like
Yeah.
it's
I would
so
too.
cool.
It's
I'm so
upscale like that.
excited. But so is like Spoken Ivy upstairs though. Like all the wood, the green,
So
like
gorgeous.
I know,
the
it's
lighting.
gorgeous.
Oh, the bar's insane.
I know. Which
I'm
we
so
have Johnny
excited.
scheduled for
Oh, that's
episode
exciting.
Yeah, so
next,
we're gonna have him
really
definitely
excited
talk
to dig
about-
into that with him.
Yeah. So, but he wanted more space, right? Too though. So you guys ended up adding on because he's like,
Yeah.
I want to make this such a big deal, such a
Correct.
cool vibe.
Yes,
So
we ended
you
up building an
added that
addition
little-
on the side
Yeah.
of the building.
So
for
it's
him as well.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I believe it's brunch.
Brunch,
And I'm not
okay.
sure what days yet. But they do brunch. I know he's doing espresso bar.
Okay.
Um,
Because
Okay.
you wanted a coffee shop.
Yeah,
so
so
he
that's kinda cool.
basically just took that
Kinda
and just
does
kept
everything.
adding
Yeah,
on to
building.
it.
Right.
I love that.
Mhm.
So what else is in that building?
Okay, so then we also
It
have.
keeps on
Yeah.
going.
Going.
So that's the first floor and basement, and then upstairs we have 8 kind of upscale flats, residential flats.
Which are
Si-
gorgeous.
Yeah, 6 1-bedrooms and 2 2-bedrooms towards the front. One of them with a beautiful bay window that overlooks Main
Right.
Street.
Are you allowed to talk about like pricing yet? Like just like a wide range?
When does that go up? When are those?
So we are weeks away.
Okay.
In fact, I know the last sneak peek I gave you guys. I mean, it looks 100% different already.
Really?
Yeah, they've been cleaned. We staged one of them partially.
Wow.
Love it.
It looks really, really, really cool.
guys,
Yeah.
they're
Fun.
absolutely gorgeous.
No, they are.
There's like exposed brick. They're
Yeah.
all different.
It's like an
You did
industrial
such a good
vibe,
job.
But
industrial
it's
vibe.
like it's
Yeah.
industrial, but it's like cozy and really like I
I
don't
love
know.
it.
It's not. It is industrial, but it's just something about it's like warm. It's like
Yeah, it's like a warm
super
industrial. I don't
know.
Is that a
It
thing?
Like,
It is.
Is that a
It's
thing? A
like-
warm
I
industrial.
know I was
I
gonna
don't
say
know.
that, but I'm like I don't know
Almost
if
like-
that's like a
It's a new
thing. But
term.
it's
Is
like
transition-
cozy.
Is transitional the right word?
Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like
But the
upscale,
one
warm, fun.
that has like the drywall up to a certain, and then it's all brick up there, like at the
Oh,
top.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
gosh, that
Well,
one.
and
Yeah.
part of it was so
Kills
the
me.
building was
Or the
built-
one John Thomas was like, I'm thinking about like keeping this, maybe Airbnb or like living. I'm like, no, somebody needs to like live here because this unit's like insane.
He's
I
like,
know,
no, I
right?
I'm
want
like,
to.
I'm like, you
know, I
want
wanna
to
move into my own
somebody
unit.
live there.
Just have to find a place for my children.
Exactly. So I think part of the warm factor was, yes, we have that exposed brick, but the building had all this original wood floors, and so
Yeah.
they were just painted over with thick grayish blue paint.
Right.
And we're like, we don't even know what it's going to look like underneath. So we sanded that and scraped that up, and it was so pretty.
It is very pretty.
So I think that brings in the warmth element. That's all these beautiful natural, original
I think all
wood
of
floors.
the
yeah.
like the cabinets aren't they gray, right? I
White
think
on top. Is
white
that we actually did
and
dual
then
tone?
gray
Yeah.
on the bottom, which I feel like brings
Like a
in
soft
another
gray, a
like
warm gray.
soft warm tone into
And
the
then
space too,
gold.
instead of just straight white and
Yeah.
chrome
And then we did, like,
hardware.
the-
the
Yeah.
gold warms it down. It's
yeah.
like it's so I love it. It's high
Yeah.
end.
And I'd love to
love it.
claim credit for the aesthetic, but that wasn't me.
Okay, hold on, wait. You
Yeah,
say
so
that,
who
but you
did you
did have the
use? Local.
pillars.
That's
Wait.
true.
Oh,
You
save the
did.
pillars.
You did save the pillars.
Yeah, I
thought you were
I'm
gonna
gonna give you
say-
credit.
Thank
I'm gonna
you,
give
thank
you
you.
props.
And that is.
But
so,
you did have a local
Architect.
architect
Yeah,
or
and
business.
That's actually a pretty funny story, which I don't think I had mentioned before. So, when you're doing these projects, you forget that like the most important piece is the plans that you have
Right.
to start with, like the architectural plans, and,
Yeah.
and those are not cheap, especially if you
You
go with
can't just
somebody
go
that's-
take a
no.
course.
You
Right.
can't. You can't do it yourself.
Unfortunately, John Thomas didn't take a
I
course
know,
for
and
architectural
you
design.
can't do it yourself. And so it's true, like maybe the aesthetic part, but I love layout. And I
Right.
love that. So I kind of worked, there's some old wooden beams that,
Yeah.
when the architect drew it up, they just kind of made them disappear into the wall. And I was like, no, let's offset that. It would be so cool
Right.
to keep that.
And that's like one important thing at what people look at downtown in these kind of buildings too, and living there.
The
It's
unique.
like that's what everybody loves
Right.
to see.
Well, and then
Yeah.
being an old
Yeah.
brick warehouse, the window openings, like they're huge, like 11 foot by
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Right.
That was a decision to be like, let's keep these the same and just fill them with glass. So the amount of warm natural light is
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, that's true,
I
too.
just love it.
So
Yeah.
you have a lot going in that building.
I know.
That's so exciting.
So on the plans,
Yeah.
we had gone and not realizing, hey, this is such an important piece. We'd actually hired somebody that was just kind of working like out of their garage, kind of individual.
Yeah.
She was super nice. Nothing against her, but her passion, and she even admitted that, is she wanted to be a veterinarian. So she was
Oh.
doing like these designs on the side, but we're like, this is such a stellar deal with the price. Let's go for it. So we started, and it was just a rough situation. The building was too big for her, and she was trying her best. And we were just making constant changes, and people were looking at these things. These are just architect drawings. Like there's not any place to put, electrical or
Right.
something
Right.
like that. And
It's
then-
not thought out enough.
exactly. And one of them, like the living room, like the washer and dryer, just standing in the corner of the living room.
Oh.
So we were trying to make
Yeah.
those things. And the moment I knew it wasn't going to work, and we had to actually go and bite the bullet and spend like 50 grand on actual plans.
You're like,
was
oh fuck,
we-
here we go.
Yeah.
we met, and the poor woman comes in. We're at Canella.
Uh-huh.
And the poor woman comes in crying, and with her is this dog, and it's a 3-legged dog.
Okay.
And we're like, "What's going on?" And she's like,
I'm like, is this gonna be a sob story? Are we gonna start crying on
and
this
no,
couch?
She
on
goes,
the tree?
she goes, it's just been a rough day. I'm like, okay, are you ready to work on this? But it's like, well, what's happening? You're trying
Yeah,
to, like,
you want to be
Right.
empathetic.
exactly. And she's
yeah.
like, my dog doesn't. I have to put my dog down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, your 3-legged dog? She says, yeah. It chewed off its other leg. And that's why it's only has 3 legs. And now it's trying to chew off another one. So I have to put my dog down. And it was
Oh
like,
my
it's
God.
not funny at the time. It really wasn't. It was kind of, but it was like, we are not on the same page on how to get this building done.
No.
Our thoughts and priorities
Oh
are
my
completely
I'm
different.
gosh.
sorry,
Yeah.
but like,
I mean,
best
she's
of luck to
she's
I know,
obviously
I know.
made like her passion is to be a vet, and you should follow your passion
And now she's done
because
that. I think she's gone
yeah,
off and she's
good.
going back to school.
Awesome.
to
good
do
for
that.
you.
Good
You
for her.
stay there and you do that.
It was like, but this is
So-
not
Save
gonna
the
work.
other dogs from
Unfortunately,
themselves.
we didn't
so
use
funny.
her,
Yeah.
but it is
No.
almost done now.
But we
And
still
you
stayed
have a
local.
local.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
still stayed
you
local.
stayed
We
local.
went to MKM Architecture, and they're big here in town, done a lot of stuff. So, and they were great.
Awesome.
They're great to work with.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that was a fun expense to realize.
Yeah,
Like, we
but
have
it
to do.
is 3
Yeah.
buildings that you made one, right? Or like 3 set. Like you had to.
What was
Am I
it before?
correct?
Yeah, like what
Yeah,
did you
so
have to
it was,
do?
It was as far back as I remember, the last known thing before the past owner had it, who was just using personal storage and office
Right.
space. I believe it was an insulation factory.
Okay.
In fact, there's pictures. Gosh, was it like 78 or something? There's some big flood that happened on Main Street.
Yeah.
And I guess some of the workers came to work in a canoe because Main Street was going to be flooded.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Riding down that river.
I mean, like, talked about dedication. Dude.
No, that is
God.
Yeah,
dedication.
they came in a boat.
Sorry.
You know what? That goes all the way back then when like people did not have an
Oh
excuse to miss
my
work. They showed up no
gosh.
matter what.
And I can't remember, I don't know when they built the levee or retaining wall along the river. But I guess that was, somewhat prior. or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my
So it was an
word.
insulation factory, and it was actually originally built in 3 sections. So that's why you have
Okay.
one part is wood floor, another part is concrete floor.
Right. That's what
Right.
I remember
Yeah.
seeing that walking throughout. And I thought, I mean, so obviously architecturally speaking, that's complicated.
Yeah.
Super
I'm
complicated
sure,
going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult to try and work in everything you want, right?
Right.
Because you're like, okay, here's where our windows already are. It's not like you're going to build something new and just decide where the windows are going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to fit the layout with, oh, shoot, this is where a window is.
Right.
This is where the floor changes. All
Right.
these complicated things. So
Yeah.
That's props to you. I'd be stressed.
it was a work. It was
A
definitely
whirlwind.
You
but
don't look
look,
stressed at all.
No, of course.
Easy
yeah, he's
peasy.
talking about like it was the best thing ever, guys.
No
No, I'm
problem.
sure you learn a lot. I'm
So
sure everybody
much.
learns a lot when they have to mess with like an old historical. Did you have to probably surpass a lot of like historical like guidelines or anything?
Not a whole lot. Surprisingly, we were able to. I mean, the city worked with us on this,
Right.
so it was really nice to, work with them. The hardest part was like the structural engineering.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, hey, these boards need replaced or all this.
Sure.
You're like, wait, do I really have to replace? These are like native wood timber. You can't.
Right.
I mean,
Nothing's gonna
ironically,
be the
they're saying
same.
these aren't to code anymore, but like to code now is like just white pine lumber, and these are like native
More
hardwood.
Actually,
durable,
yeah.
The amount,
Yeah, more
the amount of
dense.
saw blades we broke,
Yeah.
trying to cut those off to replace them with like this soft wood.
Yeah.
So it's just weird
Right.
stuff like that
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
to overcome and do. But no, it was
Interesting. I'm surprised that wasn't like grandfathered.
I know it's
That's
the weirdest stuff.
interesting.
Yeah.
So like what was grandfathered in is in we technically don't have to have an elevator,
Oh, right.
which was nice.
Okay.
So I mean that does kind of hamper the
If
demographic
people
we
can ride to
into.
work in a canoe, you can go up the
Right.
stairs.
Well, then that-
because I couldn't get in that.
Well, people
canoe
were
and ride
telling us
down
that
to
like
the
at the
water.
landing, they have to go up 4 flights of stairs or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like, okay,
Yep.
so people do climb stairs to go there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
And when we went there, it wasn't bad at all.
No, it's
I mean,
one
it was
set of
like,
stairs.
One,
Yeah.
yeah, up and up.
Not a big deal.
So
Yeah.
easy.
Which is funny too because
But-
that MKM is so good at what they do, and it was nice to have them be a collaborative effort on the design portion. Like I said, like the offset of the beams.
Right.
But like the stairs at one point were just gonna like zigzag up, and I was like, no, let's curve them so you
Yeah,
gotta
I
get
love
this like
it.
grand
Easy, like
feel.
nice.
Yeah.
Right.
So now we got like a
So
chandelier
they
up there.
had just, you
Love it.
mentioned, finished a bridge that connects
Oh,
from
yeah, I was gonna
Sweeney
mention
Park
that too.
right up to Mechanic Street, right?
Yes.
In front of Spoken Ivy.
Yeah. so
So
that's-
exciting.
That's been some of the fun things to work alongside the city. So the city identified West Main Street as a development corridor, just
Okay.
like they do.
Finally.
Yeah, exactly. Just like they did with Wells, and I think it's Broadway.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of their corridor for going west. And they've been looking for someone to come in. So when we're like, hey, we're already here, they're like, oh, this is so great.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
they worked with us to get all of West Main rezoned to UC, which allows a mixed use
Right.
kind of variance with residential above shops and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And so, they're working alongside with us on that. And then through that process, we're like, hey, you guys you seriously are invested in this area. So this is, like you said, an old walking bridge from Sweeney
Yeah.
Park onto Mechanic that was just forgotten about.
Right.
And so they were like, hey, we're actually redoing this. I'm like, no, really? And I'm thinking like it's years and years ahead.
Right.
It's already finished.
I love it.
I know.
That's so
I love
fun.
it.
I know.
So
So
It's
people
gonna be
can
so
literally
great.
walk from West Central
Yeah.
right through Sweeney Park.
We don't
Correct.
have to
On that
necessarily go down
bridge.
Main Street, which is not a
No.
terrible walk. But if we
Right.
wanted if we wanted to get more steps,
Yeah.
And
And
we
it
wanted
takes
to
you,
do that.
I think the
almost
point
think
of
it's
it
shorter to go
though,
this way, probably.
you think
I
so?
think
I think
it's
so.
point-
Oh,
I
wow.
think the point of it, gosh, I can't talk, is it comes right out there in front of Spoken Ivy, like where
Yeah.
you would want to be at.
Literally,
almost, like
a block.
right.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it's like
perfect.
right across the street.
Yeah.
Right across the street. So
Which-
you get off that bridge and there's Spoken Ivy.
I love it.
So nice.
And I know we can't talk about certain things that we have talked about before, so I'm going to like tiptoe around this. But there's a special connection between that bridge and a new business that will be going in at some point in one of your buildings.
Yeah, so the building across the street from Flats, we are in the process of going to rehab that one too. It'll be more apartments up top and some shops. And we got an amazing chef to come in from a well-known place. Once that's revealed,
Yeah.
people will be excited about that. And ironically, he used to jump off that bridge as a 14-year-old boy.
That's insane.
Then went off in the world to become
What
this
are- what
great
are the
chef,
odds?
and now he's coming back and he's going to put a restaurant. And I can say it's going to be called Bridgeport. Kind
I
of as
love
a
that.
reference to
Yeah,
the-
right.
To like his
Reference to the
childhood.
bridge.
I
And
know.
it's right there. I
Mhm.
love that story so much. And we got to tour that building, and
It's huge.
it's huge.
No, it is. It is.
That'll be
and
so
it's going to look
cool.
totally different. There's so many walls in there. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah. So what a great place to
Yeah.
people can, like you said, walk from here, from West Central,
Right.
just over the bridge and be at this whole place. And that was part of like the community design, I guess you could
Yeah.
call it, is we're trying to curate the community in a way that, businesses you bring in aren't going to directly compete with each other, but will complement each
Right.
other.
I was going to
So-
say, are they going to be maybe like completely opposite from what Spoken Ivy's offering?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think what we have the Redwood Inn now there.
Right.
They're opening back up, and they've got some cool ideas. I've got to hear kind of their plans for
Yeah.
what they're redoing
Nice.
the inside,
Fun.
like their
Nice.
bar area.
But there's still going to be like pizzas,
and
calzones,
they're kind of down to earth pizza,
chill,
like that
yeah,
beer,
yeah,
and
yeah.
just hanging out
They
there.
have the
and
live
then-
bands. I'm sure they're still going to
Yes,
do that in the
exactly.
summer.
Yep.
Like,
And
yeah.
so then, Spoken Ivy is going to, be a little bit more on the upscale side,
Right.
and their creative twists on everything that they do. They're so amazing.
Yeah.
And then Bridgeport across the street, that will be definitely more like a farm to table, shareable, like fine dining.
Okay.
So we kind of have
Nice.
3 tiers, so that way when people come to that
Yeah.
area, there's multiple options, and then each of the businesses aren't competing with one another necessarily. I'd love to work with the city to get a Dora there.
yes.
so we
yeah,
can, like-
extend the door.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, because there are other
perfect.
restaurants over there too,
Right.
which
I mean,
I
Paula's down the
totally
street.
Yeah, Paula's,
forget about.
O's,
Yep, exactly.
honestly.
Yeah, those are all right down there
Yep.
too, which it would make sense. I mean, to do Dora, you have all of what
Yeah,
you have coming up
great.
with those tenants. You have Paula's, you have O's. It's a
If we had
perfect
Dora
street.
down there, it'd be fun.
Oh, it would be
Yeah,
a blast.
yeah.
Then you hop, you get your espresso martini, and then you go across and then you go to the basement for
Right.
late
Oh
night.
Yeah,
yeah, I
speakeasy.
know. I really need to figure out
It's
how
gonna
we
be
can have a
great.
reserved table at that
Oh, I know.
at Black
so,
Rabbit.
So curating, some of those has been a fun process. Getting to know other entrepreneurs and business owners who are so passionate about Fort Wayne and West
Yeah.
Main Street, and getting to work with them. And then with a salon business possibly going into the back, that will
Right.
just be. You'll just never have to leave the building. You
No,
can go
right.
upstairs
I
and
know.
go get your hair
It's
done.
like you have
get your-
everything right there, and
Exactly. Morning till
2
night.
steps away.
Espresso to speakeasy and cocktails.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's
You never have to leave.
perfect.
Oh, that it does sound amazing. I'm excited. So the good news for everybody is you could take a course in real estate investing and not suck.
Yeah.
It might
Just-
actually work
Right.
for
And
you.
if you want a whole list of what not to do, just call me and I'll tell you everything you should avoid.
Right.
you could write a
Do
whole.
you have,
Yep,
and I
I'm
don't
gonna start
even
my
know
own
if you're
course.
allowed to
There
say
you go.
anything or if you even have any ideas, but do you plan on doing like anything else that's in the works that you can say?
So-
or are we not allowed to like,
Yeah, we're looking at another mixed use building on the corner.
Okay.
On a lot we have, which would be 2 stories, apartments. Then another mixed use. We're
Fun.
in the talks with a couple different businesses. We'd love to bring like a local produce store
yeah,
there, so that is to again extend the community feel.
right.
Go
Jeez,
across-
people are literally going to have everything.
Yeah, bread,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
just-
that'll be our little grocery store then.
Oh, and that's what
like
we're
a
hoping for.
nice,
Yeah, 'cause
yeah,
we
kind of
haven't
upscale.
had
nice,
one.
like little, not like us
Right.
feel like uppity, but I just like something nice. And
Yeah.
just for the community
Yeah.
to come in and be like,
Yeah.
I'm proud of this
Absolutely. Well,
space.
you have,
Yeah.
and you want to keep almost the vibe going because you have
Right.
these like cool restaurants, cool speakeasy, cool upscale flats.
Yeah.
Like you want to keep the vibe going, which I feel like is
yeah,
crucial on what brings people down there.
we're trying to, this is like the West Main version of the Landing in a sense.
Yeah. But you
Yes,
were also
right.
telling me, and I forget the name of it, the bigger cities, what are they calling these like little pods where they have like the grocery, the restaurants?
Like pocket neighborhood almost.
Pocket- yeah,
mm,
yeah. What is that? What you is
or
that what they were called?
agrihoods. Yeah.
Agrihoods. That's what it
Agrihoods.
was.
And this one is definitely not going to necessarily be agrihood because we don't have the agricultural component in
right,
it.
Okay.
but
Not yet.
Not
If
yet.
anybody has that,
Mhm.
reach out.
But again, it's just to be intentional about curating something that the community will
A
enjoy, not just
community,
like
right.
throwing up more apartments or.
and that's
Thank
what I love
goodness.
that you're like you have this idea and thought process because that's like my favorite thing is going to Chicago and you don't only have just like the downtown city
You
life.
have like German
but you have
Village.
like you have a suburb of
Yeah.
downtown that's right there walking
Boys
distance,
Town,
but
Wrigleyville.
it's its own
Yeah.
like Boys Town, it's its own community.
But that's
it
like my
has
new
its own
soapbox
stuff.
because how we're building stuff in America in general. We throw all the residential in one part, and then
Yeah.
we have to
Right.
drive to go to anywhere else. And
Yeah.
we need to go back to that old way of doing it, where
Agreed.
Right.
where people live and work and dine and just
in their
build a
little
community.
community.
And
Yeah,
we love
and honestly, people
options.
want that.
We love
Yes.
options.
Yeah, they do.
Exactly.
They do want
So
that.
it's
And more
just
people are
another
working
community.
from home now too.
Exactly.
And so it's great to have all of that stuff right there.
Yeah. So that we've got some ideas slated for some townhomes that will be for sale.
Right.
People
Okay.
can buy, so
Fun.
the idea is people can rent and own
Yeah.
right there, because we're not
Have a
trying
little
to
bit of
turn
both.
West
When
Main to a
will the
rental place.
townhomes? You won't break ground on those till.
We're hoping to break ground on them late this spring,
Okay.
but that's
Wow, that's
fingers
soon.
crossed.
All right. So we need to get the apartments rented,
Yep.
which some of
So,
them are already spoken
Yep,
for.
and we are pre-leasing.
I was gonna say
We are
there's
pre-leasing.
like a perfect amount and they're beautiful. I would
Yeah, and there's
assume
only,
they'll
there's
probably
only
go
8,
like
right?
that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're pre-leasing. We've got a ton of interest. Our social media, Flats on Main FW for Fort Wayne.
Follow it.
People can
It's
go there
gorgeous.
too and message us, and there's a link on there that people can go, apply to start,
Yeah.
saying I want to be first in line. To
I
whatever."
Yeah.
love Main Street. I love just driving down Main Street. I'm
It's pretty.
So yes,
I've
I'm
been
so
trying to
excited
drive
that
down
all
it
this
more.
is going on.
No,
I know.
it
I
is.
told you. I was
I
like,
know.
You have to
I
start
drive down
detouring when
there.
you get off Jefferson.
I
coming
know
up
Yes,
it's
this-
so
exactly
it's
what I
such a
do.
habit, which I would so much rather honestly drive down Main than like the strip club
Well,
and gas station.
Well, and I think the city is trying to get more people there,
Honey,
right?
you got to pass that either way, don't you?
Do you? I
Oh,
think
no,
you
'cause it's
miss
before
it.
the,
yeah, you
it's
turn like
before-
Lindenwood.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I was
right
like,
now you have to cross over
unfortunately,
Jefferson to get on Lindenwood, so it is a little
that's
complicated.
That's
well,
what I
yeah,
do.
but it's
there.
just like I'm just in the zone. But it is nicer than driving by.
So-
But they have plans for that,
Right,
don't
exactly.
they?
So the city wants more people to go to Maine as well.
Right.
So right where Sweet Cars is, on Jefferson,
Mhm.
they're going to put a stoplight there, and there's going to be then a
Oh.
road going from Jefferson straight onto Main Street, like right behind Sweet
Yeah.
Cars, and it'll just connect right to
Okay.
Main Street, big roundabout,
right.
and that'll probably double the. I mean, right now we have
Yeah.
9,500 cars a day.
I was gonna say there has to be more than you think going down Main
Yeah,
Street. I feel
that's
like.
when I found out it was 9,500. I was like, that's a lot for
Yeah.
Maine. I didn't
Yeah.
think that.
I love going down
Yeah.
Main Street, and I've
So-
been like
Love it.
waiting for something like this to happen.
I think, a
And
lot of
like the
people have.
perfect situation is
so
going
excited.
on right now.
And the colors, you guys, in Spoken Ivy. I'm,
it's
Oh my gosh,
insane.
I know.
I'm
They-
What
so
would you call that?
obsessed.
Like emerald green, maybe? Like
It,
sea green?
it is.
Like,
It's like Wicked.
The
meets-
it
combination
is.
of the
It
wood.
is. It is wicked.
No,
it's
it is.
like
Love
the
it.
Emerald
like-
City.
It is.
The way they did
I love
that
it. I
with
didn't
the
think of
wood
that.
and the brick,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they just pulled together
It's-
so amazingly. Yeah,
It's
so
like, I love it.
we're very fortunate to
can't.
have that. Johnny and his wife there.
Yeah.
and they're just
And
they're
the
passionate about it.
chandeliers.
fun.
Like, if you like, what is that? Interior design. If you like,
No, it doesn't
those
even
things.
matter. I think
It
you'll
feels
just
so
walk in
nice.
and you'll love
It
it,
just-
no matter who
well,
it
some
is.
people I
That's our
just don't
hope.
think care.
Oh my gosh.
But I love
feel
it.
like
It'll be hard
these
to-
days
to,
everybody-
like, not notice.
I know. It's
I feel
so
like everybody
beautiful.
cares.
But
Like,
it makes
I
me
care.
feel something. I
It's
like
so
that.
beautiful.
So
It's
we are
really
weeks
nice.
away from getting this whole thing opened up. I don't know when this is going to air, but as of today, we're just weeks
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
No,
Like I
I'm
said, the apartments are getting cleaned up now. We're staging some of them, so
We're
it's
excited.
we're there.
We'll put all the
So-
links to everything in the bottom
Awesome.
too.
No, yeah, absolutely. So off topic, real fast before we end. Downtown News. Did you know they took down the Aunt Millie's bakery sign?
They did. I thought they were going to
Oh,
keep
I
the
didn't
bread
know
No,
sign.
they're planning on keeping it and I think relocating it somewhere else around
Oh.
here. But they took it off that
like
building
the
today.
rotating loaf.
Yeah. And when was
That's
it
so
put up
sad.
there?
That is sad. I don't like that.
1952.
Let's put it on. Let's put it on the row house.
It was up there in 1952 is when they put it on. Isn't that insane?
Yeah. makes me
1952.
sad.
Should we put it on top of flats?
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. I know a guy that owns the building.
Reach out to them.
Today.
No, but they took it down, and I think they're going to relocate it. But
So,
yeah, 1952 it was
Today
put on.
I talked to somebody who was like, "Hey, at Electric Works, there was a 100-year-old pear tree that they had to move for one of the new
Mhm.
buildings, and
Oh,
so they
wow.
planted it in this field. But before they did that, they took all they grafted like 100 different trees
Oh,
from this
from
old
it?
tree. Yeah, and they planted them all these 100 trees like
Wow.
this
I
big,
love shit like that.
this big in like this field. I don't even know where the field is. But it's like 100 pear trees grafted from this 100-year-old thing
From
right? And they're this
Electric
big.
Works.
Right.
Wow.
So now, as of today, they're tall and they're starting to like bear actual pears, fruit, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And they're saying like the word on the street is, it's going to get they're going to get too big to move. So if you want them, pay for them and come get your pear tree from this
Oh
old one and
my
plant them
gosh.
somewhere. And so I was like,
okay, wait.
should plant those next to Flats on Main.
Yeah,
should.
you really
You
should.
should. But
I
also,
love things like
the
that.
Neon Pear opened up. It's like a bar in Electric Works.
That's how it came
Is
up.
that
'cause I was there
correlated?
today. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I was there. Was like we were at the Neon Pear, and
Okay.
that's actually a reference to the old 100-year-old pear tree that was on campus
Right.
before they had to move it.
Which is
Yeah.
another thing. The Neon
Okay.
Pear, a bar just opened.
Because
and Electric
Charlie
Works.
Horse left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's something that replaced Charlie Horse as well, but the Neon Pear is really cool.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be more of like upscale cocktails,
Oh,
right? Like they
All
have
right, we're
everything.
gonna have to go.
The manager,
Yeah.
bartender,
Yeah.
he like he's curated most of those drinks.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to
They
try
are
it out really bad.
delicious.
We need to
Honestly,
go.
Fort Wayne
I
has
had
a
it this
really
afternoon. They
good.
are delicious.
You're like
I was there.
Tough
That's right, I
day.
had for lunch.
What a hard Tuesday of work.
Before
My
this podcast.
gosh.
that was lunch, and this is the afternoon snack. So
No, that's fun, but I do want to go there, and I'm glad you
I
said
love
that
it.
because that's kind of a cool story, and I was wondering if that was correlated, but
All
also it
right.
reminded me to say something because yeah, they did just open in Electric Works,
So
but
fun.
that's my downtown news today.
I don't have any downtown news at all.
But awesome, thank you for coming
Yeah, you're
on,
welcome.
John
This
Thomas.
was
fun.
John
Yeah,
Thomas.
Thomas, yeah, you can say there's a hyphen in there. That
JT.
matters.
Hey JT.
JT.
And everything else that's going on, will there be a separate Instagram? Or are you going to have everything on Flats on Main?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. For now,
Okay.
it's just the Flats
Well,
on Main
follow
building.
Flats on Main
Right.
so that you guys can then
Stay
keep up
to
on
date
what
with
else is
everything.
happening.
And then each
Yeah.
one branches
Yeah.
into its own
Yeah.
social media,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course. But
Spoken Ivy as well, which we'll mention
Yeah,
again.
they have
when we
theirs.
Johnny on.
And they also have a page for Black Rabbit, the speakeasy.
yep,
as
I
well.
Cool,
did see
cool.
that as
Yeah.
well. That's fun.
Fantastic.
Well, awesome. Cheers
Yeah, I'm
to
drinking most
all
of
the
mine.
beginnings for John Thomas.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank
you very
you.
much.